You're tuning into the Wild, Weird, and Sometimes Normal podcast. If you have a story or a guest recommendation that you think others need to hear, email me at wildweirdandsometimesnormal@gmail.com. Let's get this started. Alex and Brett, kick it!
Wild. Wild. Weird. And sometimes wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. And sometimes normal.
On this episode, I'm joined by Kelly Shaffer of K2 Paranormal Research. Kelly is a paranormal investigator who has seen full-bodied ghostly apparitions, communicated with the dead, and lived in several haunted houses. In addition to all of that, we also discuss her current home acting like a rest stop for ghosts who come and go every few weeks, how to increase your communication with your own spirit guides, where paranormal activity may come from, and how she is in the beginning stages of starting a paranormal event planning business. This is a fascinating discussion and can certainly be filed under Can't Miss. Give Kelly and her work a follow, and be sure to let her know you heard her on Wild and Weird. Enjoy the show. Are you looking for CBD for your pet? My friends at Pure Pet Wellness have what you need. They use the highest quality ingredients. While other companies may use synthetic oils in their CBD, Pure Pet Wellness uses organic ingredients. Organically grown hemp, organic coconut oil, organic shea butter, organic beeswax, and that's just to name a few. A family-owned and operated company that also offers fast shipping. Go to purepetwellness.com for all your pet's CBD needs and use the discount code WILD and WEIRD at checkout. That's WILD, A-N-D, WEIRD. Treat your animal right. Go to purepetwellness.com. Are you looking to buy a home in New Jersey, escape the city and move to the suburbs? Finally purchase a vacation home on the lake or down the shore? Maybe you're one of the lucky ones who are retiring and moving out of state. If so, let me help you. Keller Williams and the Real Estate Professional Group have what you need to make your goals come true. Reach out and have a conversation with someone who will put you first. Contact Brian McCoach at 856-321-1212 or email brianmccoach@kw.com. Welcome to another episode of Wild, Weird, and Sometimes Normal. I'm your host, Brian. And today my guest is Kelly Shaffer of K2 Paranormal Research. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you very much.
I really
got
appreciate
me out
you
of bed
coming
for
on.
this one.
Oh, okay, good. It's a little early for both our sides. Hey, it's not the earliest. Sometimes I do recordings over in the UK, so they're 5 hours ahead. Sometimes it's tough to do an interview in the middle of the day, schedule your day around it.
Yeah.
So I try to knock them out first thing in the morning or later in the evening. And for them, later in the evening is just not happening. So I start recording at 5 or 6 in the morning. I'm like, all right, please shake all the cobwebs out of your head and let's see what happens. But so far, so good.
I have cousins in Scotland, so I know about that time difference. It's like, what time is it there? Yeah.
It'll work out. So this isn't too bad for us. This is, most people's breakfast time. Yeah, this is good.
No, I'm good. I don't eat breakfast, so I'm good.
Oh, you're fine then. This is perfect.
I'm fine. Yeah, there's nothing.
All right, Kelly, you have K2 Paranormal Research. Can you give us a little background on what you do and what's happening?
K2 Paranormal Research was formed back in 2018 officially. 2010 is when it was birthed, but 2018 is when I decided that I was going to be a K2 carrying full-time paranormal researcher. It happened when my daughter and I decided that we wanted to go ghost hunting, and her name's Kayla and mine's Kelly. So it was K2, and that kind of worked out with the K2. So it's stuck. She's left the field. She's off doing other things. So it's stuck, and everybody knows me as K2. So that's what it is. Yeah.
Perfect. So we have your K2. What is the other K2? What's the card carrying K2?
I'm the card carrying K2.
Oh,
her and I were the first two Ks.
Got it. But is there a paranormal K2 aspect, or am I misunderstanding?
I'm sorry, what?
Is there a paranormal K2 aspect, or am I misunderstanding?
Oh, the K2 is the EMF meter that we use.
Oh, okay. That's the brand is K2?
Yeah, it's usually known as a K2. Go get the K2. But
Perfect.
it's a K2 is an electromagnetic field meter, and it worked out with the name. So
I love the synchronicity of it.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you take this, your K2s were out, and now it's just K1, but everyone knows he is K2. So K1's out in the field. She brings the K2. What does the K2 do? Why are you
The
pulling out of the
K2
bag? What's
measures
happening?
electromagnetic fields. It measures around every electronic device, or around, well, let's do electronic devices because that's easy. Like your microwave. Your microwave is constantly putting off electromagnetic fields. And so the meter, which is a Gauss meter actually, will measure that field and tell you how strong it is, whether you need to leave the house or whether you can stay in the house. They use it around electrical wires to find out what the escape is from it, or what. I don't know all the technological aspects to it. I just know part of it. So, but they use it to find ghosts. And when the theory is that when there's fluctuations in the electronic magnetic field, it means that the entity is getting ready to materialize.
Oh, wow.
So that's why we use the K2s to measure those fields. When you go into a haunted location, the first thing you do is you do a baseline reading of all the rooms, and you go from room to room to room and say, here's where we find fluctuations in the fields. Here's where, or nothing was in there. I mean, I went through the last location and it was zilch throughout the entire location. So any fluctuations we got in the EMF meter would indicate that there might be a spirit getting ready to manifest. So, yeah.
Okay. So manifest is visually seeing?
Visually seeing or experiencing, because spirits can't always manifest completely. I've only seen one full-bodied apparition in my life right now. I'm hoping for more because it's really interesting. They can materialize in the form of like shooting something across the room, like you've got like a cat ball. We use just regular old everyday cat balls because they're easy to move, and when they get moved, they light up. So a spirit can manifest to the point of where it can use its energy to move that cat ball, and that can be registered with the K2. I am noticing, though, that there's a lot of spaces right now that have activity, but there's no activity on a K2. So I don't know what that is yet. I just started noticing that on the last investigation. So it's one thing that I want to check out with my colleagues in the field.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So I have like 1,000 questions here. Let's see if we can keep them all up
Go
and
for
keep
it.
this on track.
I
Yeah.
love
All right.
questions.
Yeah. All right. So do you take your K2 meter around your house and just every once in a while just see what's happening?
No.
Okay. Because you don't want to? You don't want to know what you're living with?
I've lived in 3 haunted houses and don't care to live in another one. When I bought this house, I kind of investigated it while I was looking at it, and there's nothing in my house, and I would like it to stay that way, although I have just come to realize that my house is like a way stop for people in the spirit world. So I have spirits that come in and out and leave. It's like a train station, kind of. They're here for a little bit and then they're gone. Like I had one entity here that was I named him Gary, for lack of a better word, but it was like he stayed here for a good 2 weeks. I'm like, really? All you're doing is just standing here looking at me. What do you want? Get out of here. But there was like Mother's Day this year. I was in the kitchen cooking and distinctly heard voices talking in my house. I live alone. My dog doesn't talk yet. So that was a
Hopefully not
little
ever.
weird.
Maybe. I don't know. You're saying not yet, but maybe.
Well, you never know.
That's true. That's true.
Aliens could come down and doink all the dogs and go, hey, now you can talk.
Yeah. Any day now.
Right?
Yeah.
And so on Mother's Day, when I went to bed that night, I was laying in bed trying to go to sleep, and there was the very distinct smell of fresh baked cookies coming from my kitchen. So somebody came and baked cookies. They can do that. I'll enjoy that. But
Right? Jump out
no,
of bed
I don't.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into living with any more ghosts. I
Yeah.
really don't. No, I don't need to come around a corner and see something. I don't need when I was living in the haunted houses, I wasn't as aware of them as I am now. So it wouldn't be a situation where I'd be more afraid like I was before, but it just isn't uncomfortable because it's like, okay, you're gonna watch me sleep and you're gonna watch me eat. No, I'm not into that.
Did you intentionally live in 3 haunted houses, or was this just
No,
luck of the draw?
luck of the draw. Yeah. The first house we moved to in Oregon was haunted by two spirits. I'm pretty sure at least one of them did not walk the earth as a human. The other one may have been human, but they tormented my sibling and I forever. The entire time that we lived at the house. I mean, they scared the living daylights out of my brother. And they for me, it was just seeing them and having nobody else see them. That was the weird thing. And then the second haunted house, I moved into it, I bought it, and the basement had something in it. And nobody likes to go down into basements anyway. But when you go down into the basement and you see a woman in the basement doing laundry, it's like, okay, my pile's over here, and please separate the whites from the blacks. So
That's the least she can do. She's staying there for free.
that's
It's
the
the
least
least she
she
can
can do. Maybe she can do some stain removal.
do.
At the time I had small children, so there's lots of stains to be dealt with.
Right. Just live
Um,
with the stains at that point.
just live with the stains at that
Yeah.
point because the clothing are going to wear out way long before that stain goes away.
Right.
Um, and then the third house became haunted. We had moved into a house that we knew who the person was, and they had passed away, unfortunately, from a medication allergy. And he had passed away in the hospital and had come back to the house. And he was in the house until his wife died. When his wife died, then he and her, I think, they left. I don't know where they went, but they just left.
I like that.
So,
That's sweet. I think that's nice.
yeah, me too. I think, well, they were in love with each other from the moment they saw each other. So for for them, their story is a love story. And when he died, nobody knew that she had dementia. And so when he had died and was no longer hiding her dementia, they're like, oh my goodness, mom has dementia. We've got to put her in a home. So they put her in a dementia care facility. And then they needed somebody to rent the house. So we rented the house. And probably about a month or so after we moved in, we started hearing pounding in the garage, like somebody working on a wood project. And you'd go racing down into the garage and there's nobody there. There's not even any tools out. But you would go back up into the bedroom, which was over top of the garage, and you would hear somebody pounding on wood. And we would see the dark shadow go from that garage door across the walkway into a den that's that's opposite of the door. And you'd see that dark shadow. And then the one that got me, the biggest one that got me, and it was right in the very beginning of my ghost hunting career. So I was interested and scared to death at the same time. I heard a man walking up the stairs and heavy footsteps, big feet. I heard him walking up the stairs, and my daughter was in the kitchen, and I said, "Is your dad home?" Knowing full well he's not. And she goes, "You heard that too, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So so we both got the stair steps at the same time. And
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
the only
man.
time we heard the stair step one. That's the only time he climbed up the stairs, but that was like bump, 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 bump up the stair. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I didn't know ghosts could do that, but apparently they can.
My audience is going to be annoyed that I retell this story, but like I only have one ghost story, so what do you want me to do? Fast forward this part, people. But we'd go to my aunt's house in Pennsylvania and go there,
Ooh,
for every few weekends and stay up there.
where in Pennsylvania?
Like Ben Salem, Croydon area.
Oh, okay.
So they had a brand new house and had a pool. So, my parents would go up and bring us, and they had extra bedrooms, and we'd either sleep in the basement or whatever it was, and hang out and barbecues and fun stuff like that. And then there were times you would hear the vacuum running at like 5 or 6 in the morning. So I would come downstairs the next morning and be, hey, aunt, uncle, why are you vacuuming at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning? Like, oh, no, that wasn't us. That was the ghost. I'm like, okay. And then there was other times we're sitting there having breakfast and everybody in the house is in that dining room having breakfast. Not one person is missing from the dining room. And you would hear on the
Wow.
stairs, feet coming down the stairs, and it would just never would turn that corner. So you would turn the corner, you'd be in the dining room, and everyone's like, it was a friendly
Holding
ghost,
their
so that was
breath, waiting for
fine.
somebody to
But
walk
kind of
around
holding
the
their breath,
corner.
like who's here? Who's coming? I'm like, oh no, that's the ghost. He does that all the time. And so just very strange stuff like that.
Yeah.
The heavy feet. So this was, I guess this was normal walking. The heavy feet would give me like serial killer vibes. Like, we need to get out of here. Who has,
Yeah.
like the heavy bark boots coming on.
Well, the
So
gentleman that was haunting my house happened to be the person that had captured Patty Hearst.
oh wow,
Yeah, so he was a cop.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, and he was haunting your house.
Mhm. He
And
was
that
haunting
was
the last house I was in that was haunted. Yeah.
and that's the one
And
that walked up the
yeah,
stairs.
it's his name's in the book. So the whole story's in the book. So the name's
Yeah,
in there and everything. So Tim Casey was the ghost that was in my house.
that's crazy. Were you able to communicate with him, or he just experienced?
No. I think I'm working on theories right now with regards to what ghosts are, and I'm right now on the theory of where it's realms that are like looking at each other at that moment. You don't know the other exists, or you can see the other, or it's kind of like what I explained to my neighbor the other day, because the house next to me is haunted. And I know who's haunting that house too. It's the owner's son that had died in the house.
Hmm.
And I told her, she believes in ghosts. So I told her, I said, yeah, your son goes out on the back porch and sits for a while. And he's like, does he say anything? I'm like, no, he doesn't say anything. And I explained to her that it's like two realms that are seeing each other. And sometimes you notice that, and sometimes you don't notice that. Or he does see me, but he doesn't know who I am because I'm dressed weird and I'm dressed, I'm not the person that he thinks needs to be in that house. So hauntings are really, I would love to figure out why people haunt houses. I really would.
Yeah, I definitely,
Maybe before I die, I'll come up with it. Or maybe after after I'm dead and I've figured it out, I'll send a message to somebody.
yeah,
I'll
it
send
would
a
be.
message to my resident skeptic.
There you go. All right, let's loop back real quick. So you said you were
Okay,
living in
cool.
Oregon. You were living
Yeah.
in Oregon, and you were a
hmm
child, and your sibling,
hmm
your brother,
hmm
were experiencing ghosts. Does he
That yeah,
still
that was
experience
yeah.
things, or is he okay with this? Is he
As far as I know, he does still experience things. I've not talked to him in several years, so
okay?
it's
Moving
yeah,
moving on from that. Good. All right, we'll move
yeah,
on from that.
we're
So
fine with
you
that
you
one.
guys had
Yeah.
that. All right, where's this coming from? Why you seem to be experiencing more than others, and in greater detail or whatever it might be?
Not
Do your
as much as
parents?
some people though.
Okay,
I'm not on the level of some people though.
okay.
And I don't know, and I think that some people can experience this stuff and some people can't experience this stuff. Like for instance, or you need to open up to it. I find the more I open up to it, the more I experience. The more I accept, the more I experience. And it's the same thing with trying to find happiness in your life. The more happier you are, the more you're going to attract happiness to you. So the more you're open to the spirit world, the more you're going to attract to yourself. And like, for instance, my resident skeptic, Jim Corley, who is one of my lead, he's my lead investigator. He's not experienced any ghosts, but he wants to. And so we keep taking him out he keeps coming with us to investigations and he gets upset because he didn't experience anything. And so, we label him the resident skeptic, but he also, we're joking with him that he scares the ghosts away.
When you're
Well, the
out there
last
and
thing,
he's not experiencing, are other people experiencing why he's there,
yeah,
or it just shuts
yeah.
it all off?
He
Oh,
just
okay.
it might be that he shut it all off and he doesn't know how to open that up. I don't know. I'm trying to help him through it, but I'm waiting for him to ask for more help about it because you can't, it's like trying to help somebody get over a problem. Unless they want help, they're not going to get help. They're not going to accept whatever help's given to them. So we try to help him. But at the last investigation, he picked up my dowsing rods and they crossed for him. The ghosts interacted with him and crossed him. And he said that was the weirdest feeling I've ever had in my life. So maybe now, with that first experience that he's had, he'll be opened up to it a little bit more. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing for anybody. The more you open up to it, the more you're going to experience. I've put a real big block on mine because I don't know how far I want to go with it. I mean, I saw the full-bodied apparition. That was awesome. That was cool. Whether I would like to have a full-body apparition show up right next to me, I don't know. I've only been doing this seriously for 5-6 years, although I've been doing it since 2010. It was only, since 2018 that I went, yeah, I want to do this full time. So I'm easing into the whole experience, and everybody says I'm a medium, and I'm like, nope, not going to do the medium stuff. I use whatever powers I have, powers, gifts, whatever you want to call them, to find the ghosts when we're in the locations. But I don't want to be one that's passing messages back and forth between the dead and the living. Nope, did that one time. Don't care to do it again. Nope. That was a weird feeling. Don't want it.
Yeah,
So
that would be very strange, very intense. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did your parents have any experiences, and is this like a family line that you guys are all experiencing this, or did it just start with the
Well,
children?
I grew up in a religious cult. So my father kind of urged me along in his own little way. Whether or not he knew he was doing it, I don't know. But I remember my dad told a story about how he had a ghost that was in a car with him for an entire journey. And that's the only ghost story he ever told me. But he had me out in the yard on inner tubes watching the sky for UFOs for years. That was one of my favorite things to do. Go out in the yard, lay on the inner tubes with my dad and watch the sky for UFOs. That was my favorite thing to do.
I love it. Did you ever see anything?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I at one point I had a UFO that was 10 feet above my car.
Oh, wow. What did that look like?
It was those wheat, how they used to do wheats in like that hourglass figure.
Yeah.
Take that and turn it on its side, and then both cones were moving at different speeds. There was something in the middle that was moving. The outside rings had 2 rings and they were moving. It was basically a ball with stuff on the inside, and I didn't see any kind of life or anything, so it may have been entirely mechanical, but it swooped down out of the sky, zoomed over my car at 10 feet above it, and I went, I did not just see that. And so I looked in the rearview mirror, and here's all the other cars swerving around this thing. And I'm like, yep, you did just see that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty effing cool. And I went back to my apartment, closed up all the windows, locked all the doors, and sat in the middle of the living room going, oh my God.
That's wild.
It was.
Yeah.
It was one of my best experiences yet with the paranormal. That wraps right up there with the top 10. Oh my goodness, it was amazing.
Yeah, let's get into the full body apparition. How did that happen? What's the story?
Full body apparition was my first sighting down here in Tennessee when I went ghost hunting at the Coleman Cemetery. There wasn't much going on in the cemetery. There is one haunted grave in there. I won't tell everybody where it is because I haven't talked to the family yet, because it was a recent death. And I'm sitting there and I'm just gazing off down the driveway, just zoomed. I was just zoning out because the people that we were with like to listen to spirit boxes, that staticky word spitting out piece of equipment that doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm on the fence about the technology. We can get into that a little bit further, but I'll save that story for later. But we're listening to the spirit box and I'm zoning out because it bores me to no end. And I'm sensitive to fire because I survived a fire in California. I was in the Tubbs fire. So I'm sensitive to fire. And I keep seeing these flare-ups of flame, like campfires. I'm like, where's that coming from? And they'd pop up over here and they'd pop up over there and they'd pop up over here and and then they go away. And then there'd be bigger ones than other ones. And I'm like, this is just really weird. And I'm just watching to see where the next one's going to pop up at so that I can poke Jim going, look at that, look at that. And one popped up and it was a pretty big one. And I went, oh, somebody's going to have to take care of that. I'm thinking that needs to be taken care of. Somebody needs to get that put out before it starts burning all the grass. And this guy walks by in khaki pants and a tunic kind of thing. And I'm watching him walk and I go, oh, that guy's going to take care of the fire. Okay, he's watching the fire. Oh my God, there's only half of him. As he's walking by, I'm looking at him. And there's only half of him. He is not visible from the knees down. And then he just fades away. I'm like, oh,
that's crazy.
Get up. And I'm running down the road trying to get there. And it's a full-bodied apparition. Full-bodied apparition of I don't know if it had to have been a Civil War soldier. I don't know which side it was though, but that area had been campgrounds for the camps that were coming through for the troops that were coming through. For both sides had camped there. So I'm like, we just experienced a campground of soldiers with the flare-ups of campfires. And then that guy, I'm like, this is amazing. I fell in love with Tennessee ghost hunting right then and there. That's it.
I'm sure. Yeah. Not hard to fall in love when you're seeing that your first time out.
Woo!
That's crazy.
First time out in Tennessee, and I got my first full-bodied apparition. I mean, I've gotten shadow people, I've gotten partial manifestations, but not that. That was full-bodied, looked solid until he started fading away. It was awesome. I loved it.
To loop back to a story earlier, you said house is the train station and people are coming and going sometimes.
Train station.
And
yep,
you heard voices. Was it that a conversation you were overhearing?
It's a conversation. A murmur? Right. Okay,
it's a conversation. Clearly hear what's happening? Or are they talking to you?
No, I don't think they were talking to me. But I did clearly hear it was two voices. They were both men and they were talking, they may have been talking to each other. The second voice was very, very fast and very, very faint, but you could still hear it respond to the first one. The first one was clear as day. I couldn't understand what he was saying, but the volume was there and the enunciations were there, but I couldn't understand what was being said. The clairaudience is something that's been with me for a few years now. The first one I heard was in my car and trying to figure that one out. There's not much to debunk when they're in your car. And is the radio on? That's pretty much all you can do. The radio's not on.
Nobody's in the back seat. Check.
Nobody's
radio's not on.
Seat.
Check.
Yeah. Yep.
Man.
And then there was another time that the clairaudience came out in my bedroom, and what I heard was, "There you are," in a man's voice. And I'm like, "Yeah, where are you?"
Oh, I don't know I'm not sure if I would like that one.
I figured if you wanted to hang around, I'm single, I can do it.
So my brother moved into a house.
I married a ghost. No.
My brother moved into a house a few years ago with his wife, and they say there's a ghost in their house. They've asked it politely not to come into the bedroom, like the rest of the house you can kind of go to. But it'll move figurines around. It'll put a little stack of money of coins. It'll on like their piano. I was like, all right, we'll get them to like pump that up a little bit. Like coins are great, but let's get some dollar bills.
Are they interested in finding out who it might be?
I don't know. I'll have to find out.
Find out if they are interested. I research people, property, and things. And I could research their property and see if we can't figure out who that might be, because that's an intelligent haunting.
Yeah.
That's somebody that lived in that house.
I feel like they're very much on the line of like, oh, our place is haunted. And then like in the next breath, they might weave back over and be like, well, not really. Like, well, where'd the money come from? Like, yeah, our place is haunted. And Maybe it's just like a little uncomfortable, of where they're at.
That's typical. That's typical stuff. Yeah.
Right. But I'm like, that's great.
People
Hey,
don't want to admit things are haunted.
yeah. I'm like, well, the money didn't come from anywhere, the figurine. But yeah, so I think they're mostly on board, but I'll find out. Thank you. I'll let them know.
Yeah, if they're happy to. I'm happy to research the property and find out if we can see who it is. It might just be one of the former owners, and then their activity might scoop up when they find out who it is and call them by name.
It is scoop up going down or moving up into more? Which
Scoop up.
Oh,
Go up into more.
Yeah, may not want to do this then. I'll have to find out. Yeah. Maybe scoop down. What's the scoop down option?
The scoop down option is you just ignore it and just don't interact with it. That's the only thing. But since they have talked about it, the ghost knows that by the fact that he's leaving things where they can find them, the ghost knows that they know. So they might as well just jump in with both feet.
Yeah, this is like that little bit of pregnant thing. Like you can't be that. Like
you can't just be partially pregnant. You're either all or nothing. Yeah.
Shouldn't have talked to the ghost to begin with. Oh,
I might be pregnant. No.
We'll find out. That's great. All right. So you're having full apparitions, Civil War soldiers in your house. They're, you're hearing people talk and you can't really hear what it is, but it's a conversation. You hear the volume, men talking.
Yeah.
And you've talked about, one theory right now. Could be like a mirror world or they're existing
a mirror
in their
world,
area.
Different realities, different dimensions. That's what the current discussion is about. If we figure out the paranormal and why ghosts are and how they become and all that kind of stuff, the entire world's going to change. Our whole belief of death, our whole belief of life, our whole belief of why we're even here, it all changes once we figure out the paranormal. Because right now it's like death is the end. Well, I don't think death is the end for, if not all, a great majority of people. I think myself being a believer in reincarnation, I have more of a belief that we just move on to another reality when we pass from this life. This is just one of our experiences. And our spirit goes on and continues to enjoy other experiences throughout the universe. And why else would the universe be here, right? Quite frankly. So if we can get this figured out, the dimension thing and the different realities, the bubbles that kind of merge and then go, bubbles of reality. Let's call it bubbles of reality. And the bubbles bump into each other every now and then, and they kind of mold into them, and then they separate. And maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm working on theories here.
No, I like them. We're making progress here. And
it is.
Yeah, I should have.
So I figured I get about 20 more years of life, so I'm going to figure this out before I get done.
You have 20 more years of this life, and then you have a whole nother one you're going to keep working.
Yeah, this life, and then I'll go on to the next one. Yeah, this life. Yeah.
But there was a NASA article, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, and there was a cold spot in the universe, and they were thinking that there could be, a bump up there that could be a connection. I'll have to try to find that and I'll post it in the show notes. But I remember reading that and it's, every once in a while NASA will give you something, hey, we're going to other planets and we're taking pictures and you think that'd be enough, but like, I need more. Then there'll be this little nugget of like, oh, we found this unusual cold spot in the universe and we think possibly another universe will be bumping up right there.
That could be, you don't know. Yeah. NASA's been doing a lot of different things. They had an article they were doing work with electromagnetic fields that I quoted in one of my stories, and I can't remember. It's too early for me to remember that data, but yeah, they've been doing a lot of stuff and they've been publishing their work. So, it would be really great if everybody just worked together. That's just, if science just told us everything they knew and everybody else told us everything they knew, what an amazing experience it would be to have that shared intelligence.
So I love the internet for we connected and here I am. I see you through Zoom and we're talking. I think this is amazing.
Right.
We're in different time zones and things like that.
Who would have thought years ago?
Right. And now we just have our two ideas and things we've heard and we're trying to piece that together. But crowdsourcing, you can put any problem on the internet and let people work together, and everyone sees things from a different angle, or different belief
Mhm.
system they might have. Like, you talk about thinking outside the box. Just put this stuff out there. I get there has to be top secret or whatever it is, but like, if you're working on things, put your data out there, let people go through it, let them come up with different ideas. I think we would just be so much further along in life in
Yep.
general. But everything gets
Well, just think
pigeonholed
back
and
to
everything gets.
I keep looking back at how collaborative everybody was in Star Trek. And all of that, where we've gotten over our egos. Of course, there are still people with egos, but they've gotten over their egos. They're sharing information. They're working towards a common goal. And that would just be lovely. But I don't think that's going to happen with the people that we have on Earth right now. So,
It's very tough. It is I
yeah.
want credit for this. I want
Mhm.
the monetary rewards of figuring this out. I want the fame, and it's like we could just go
We
leaps and
need to just
bounds.
eliminate money. We just need to eliminate money. Everybody can get what they need. Yeah, just eliminate money, which is the source of all evil.
It,
Amazing how that's a true statement.
it is. Uh, it's knowledge and money. The knowledge, money, and power. They're
Knowledge, money,
everyone's.
and power. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
more you have
Yeah.
of it, and you keep it away from other people, I guess the more power you get out of it.
Hmm. Yep. So
Let's get back into
we've
paranormal.
got that life problem solved. Now what's
But
next?
let's move on to better things. All right. We solve this paranormal. We figure out what it is. We figure out they are in a mirror dimension. We figure out they're
Mhm.
in the multiverse. Where,
Mhm. Yeah.
let's talk about a building, a
Whatever you want
10-story
to call it.
building. Everybody's on a different floor, and we figure out a way to take that elevator up.
Yep.
Do you think in the future, do you think maybe people can do it now? Do you think you can go up a level? Do you think people can fully interact or immerse? I don't want to say time travel, but this is more, I guess, like multiverse
No,
travel.
what you're looking at, what you're talking about is astro travel. You're talking about people that can astro project themselves.
Okay.
And that's not a physical visitation of those other realms, other than it's your spirit, it's your spirit doing it, quite frankly. There are people that can astro travel. I'm a little on the fence with all of that because I mean, I have done it, but I don't know if it's quite I don't know if it's something that we can use to figure this out. I don't know if it's like an elevator that you can go up and down and that sort of I
You think you could only observe like when
what
you do this, like
the reason why I'm on the fence about it is because when you astro travel into another reality, that's only you experiencing it. There is no way that your visitation and your travel can be verified in any way. You
right?
have to have verification of it, or you can tell all the stories you want. And that's the problem that I have with a lot of the people that say that they can do all kinds of different things. It's like, how can we verify that? There's no way we can verify that. Your family that has the ghost in the house. If we find out what the name of the ghost is, the ghost responds when you use its name. Like it's okay, it says, okay, George, we'd like you to set a thing of coins up on the piano for tomorrow morning's breakfast. And if George does that, and does that regularly where you do it 3 times or more in a row, and it's like, okay, you've got verification that it's George in the house and he can set up the coins. It's like astro travel. Unless somebody can verify your experience, it's not data you can use. And that's one of the problems that you have in the paranormal is a lot of this is just conjecture from other people, or it's imagination from other people. There's no way of verifying it. Whenever I go out with mediums, I'm always verifying what it is that they said. I had one medium that was claiming that a location was a hospital. Oh no, this place was a hospital, this place was a hospital. And I went, there is no record of this place being a hospital, and I have it from cornerstone to present day. So it's a little iffy on that medium. And that's where we can't take all of these experience. We can respect the experience that somebody has because that is their experience. That is what they have gone through. But whether or not their experience can be used as data to further the field of paranormal, that's the question. You have to have verification. I'll get off my soapbox now.
Oh, you think this is what we're here for? I should rename the podcast the Soapbox. We both can get
It frustrates me to no end that people don't verify claims. If someone tells you that there was a woman living in the house, go find the records and find the woman. It's not that hard.
So here we are, back to the internet. All the information's at your fingertips. A lot of records have been digitized. Yeah, you can figure. It's not. You can have to go down to the old library
with
anymore.
a little bit of research experience. You can find the information. It's not that difficult. But that's the thing that we need to remember about the paranormal is it's just an experience. If you've had an experience without the evidence, it's just a story.
But there's a lot of stories out there.
There's a lot of stories out there. The book has 24 stories in it. So
let's get back to some.
I don't, huh?
I was going to say, let's get back to some good stuff then. You
okay,
said
cool.
at one point you did, and not this wasn't good stuff. This is all good stuff. You said at one point you passed a message on from the dead to the living.
Yeah.
How were you contacted?
I was not expecting that. It was during COVID. So as a single person during COVID, a lot of the times you would have like dates on the phone or you'd go out to a park and be 60 feet away from each other, stuff like that. This would happen to be a gentleman had asked if he could call me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, go ahead. So we're talking on the phone, and he's telling me about his fiance that had died 6 weeks earlier, and I'm like, well, first of all, there's your problem. Your fiance died 6 weeks earlier, and you're hitting me up? That's either desperate or desperate. So I'm talking to him, and all of a sudden, what popped into my head was the word apples. And I'm like, okay, that's coming from the voice that is the one that gives me messages. I've finally figured that voice out. Okay, so that voice is the one that gives me messages and it's telling me apples. So I stopped him. I said, I need to stop you right here. I'm going to have to ask you, does the word apples mean anything to you? And he goes, no. It doesn't work. No. Old grouchy cowboy, that kind of thing. Doesn't believe in the paranormal. And we continue on, and he's lamenting about his fiance that had passed away, and her memorial service was tomorrow, and blah 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 blah. And he says, "Let me show you the paintings that I've painted." And I'm like, okay. So he's sending me pictures of the paintings that he did, and there's one that he showed me that was a picture of an apple on top of the pi symbol. And I stopped him again. I said, okay, because the voice was telling me, stop. That's it. So I said, I got to ask you again. Does the word apples mean anything to you? And he goes, no. Well, and he looked at the painting and he's like, it was her favorite painting. She made me take it out of the gallery so it wouldn't get sold. I'm like, there you go. Apparently your fiance is now in communication with me. And he goes, can I ask you a question? I said, I don't know. Sure, I guess. It was the first time doing this. And he goes, where's her engagement ring? And I said, and I waited for the answer. And the answer that came through was, it's with me. And I told him, and he starts bawling. He's just crying. He goes, that's all I needed to know. That was the biggest question I had. I didn't know where the engagement ring was. I thought it got lost. And like, no, she tells me it's with her. So he was fine. He went off to the memorial service the next day, knowing that she was in a better place. And I'm like, cool. But the whole experience was just weird. Just weird. I didn't close myself off from her so that she couldn't, and she decided that she wanted to have a little bit of taste of life and run around inside me for a while. So I had to get rid of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she left, and yeah, I don't want to do that again. No.
Did you ever talk to that gentleman again, or was that a one-hit wonder?
we were friends for a little bit longer, but he was looking for something that I couldn't provide him. I'm just not. I am a romantic. I really am, but no. No.
I was asking that to wonder if there was, maybe he was brought to your life for you to pass that
He
message
was
on.
he was probably brought to me for some reason. And everybody that you encounter, everybody in your life was meant to be in your life or at your life at that particular moment. Everybody in your life that you interact with was meant to be there for a reason. Whatever that reason was, it's up to you to figure out. But and this was really, I loved how my friend explained this to me. He said, you have friends, you have family, and you have lovers. And the fourth one you have are non-players. That's just the way it is. That's the people that you will encounter in your life. You will have friends, you will have family, you will have lovers, and you will have non-players. It's kind of like the non-players that are in video games. You see them, you don't interact with them at all. They don't interact with you. And everybody in your life that you talk to, everybody in your life that you have in your head, that you interact with, everybody is there for a reason. I always love trying to figure out why somebody was in my life. Apparently he was in my life to bring that first experience to me. So he served his purpose and moved on. Yeah.
So this woman, you said she wanted more taste of life, and then you had to get her gone. Do you think this happens a lot? Do you think?
No,
Do you think
I don't know if
not
it
to you, but in life in general, other people?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Possibly. It was the second experience that I had of the other one was a friend of mine that had gotten possessed, and it was like, you are not acting right. You're completely not you. And ended up it was a spirit that had decided that it wanted to mess with the person for a while. And so this was my first personal experience of a spirit trying to inhabit for a while. I don't attach maybe is a good word for it. I don't know. I don't want to go, oh my God, I got possessed by a spirit. No, it was more like an attachment.
Yeah. So your friend or you, are you still driving the car at this point, or are you a passenger and like you want to drive? Like what's happening? You're not in control?
You are in control. Well, there's some people that aren't in control when they get possessed. Like my friend was not in control when they got possessed. For me, it was like I just had a monkey on my back. It was like, okay, I know you're there. Just no, you can't use me to manipulate. You can't manipulate me to do what you want.
So when your friend, does your friend remember anything that happened, or is it like blacked out because something else took over?
He just felt like he was sick. He
Okay.
felt like he was just really, really sick. And the actual exhibition of him being, because I don't know if possession is a good one for him either, but the attachment to him it changed his personality. It's like he was really looking forward to a drink one night, and we'd planned the entire day around us having a drink that night. And he ordered his drink, I ordered my drink, his drink game. He never sipped a single sip out of it, which was really weird because it was his favorite drink. And he ordered food that was his favorite, that was something he was really looking forward to having, never touched a bite of it. And that had happened twice with the food. And it just like, dude, this is just not, something's not right here. Something's really, really not right. And then it exhibited itself with additional things. That particular one ended up being a doppelganger. And I did see the doppelganger, and I did chase after the doppelganger thinking it was my friend, and ended up it wasn't. And here he is up in the hotel room, gray. He was so sick. And I had to call somebody to get me out of it. That experience actually stopped me from ghost hunting for about 18 months because I didn't realize that you could get possessed, attached. I always thought that was all a bunch of hooey. It's not, it's true stuff. People get attached, people get, yeah.
That's nuts.
And I stopped. I don't go out unless everybody on my team has to have protection. And if you don't have protection, you're going to be wearing my protection oil. So, because I don't want anybody else getting attachments. That's just, it's dangerous. So, and
So
you
you had
never
this
know what's
woman.
getting attached.
Oh yeah. So you had this woman, and you felt like a monkey on your back, and then so you brought up the food, and
Mhm.
that's kind of where it's going to go. Like, did you notice maybe you made different choices you don't always do? Like you always like
Yeah, I
chocolate
did.
ice cream, but then when
Yeah.
she's there, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to get vanilla.
Yeah, I did. And I'm not going to get into the details of it.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's not, I was fully aware of what was going on, but I could not control when she wanted to take control, I could not control it. And that me not being in control of myself is one of the things that just put me out of my misery if that ever happens,
Right. Yeah.
because it won't be pretty. Yeah. So it's
And
I haven't fully gone in and analyzed that entire experience yet, but you've helped me to look at it a little bit more today.
okay.
So
Thank you.
I
I
might
hear
have to
you,
think about that a little bit more.
and I respect what you said. I'm not pushing here, but I just have. And at any point, we can just switch off to the
I'm
conversation.
good. I'm good. I'm just not
Yeah.
going to describe the experience of her. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you,
Mm-mm.
so back to this driving analogy. So she takes over.
Mhm.
What is that feeling, or what is that? Why can't you get back in control? Is this like you want to, or you're like, oh, let me just see where this is going? Like, what's
No,
that?
it
What's that like?
was more of it was I didn't realize that I wasn't in control at that moment. It was like it's like I went along with it thinking, "Oh yeah, this is what's going to happen." And I'm like, "No, that's not me. That's not somebody that that's not somebody I am. No. Mm-mm." She
So
was
not
she was
your
a
normal
hard
stuff.
partier.
Okay.
It's not my normal stuff. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, that
And then you were under the impression at that time that like, oh, I'm making that decision, but then stepping back, you're kind of realizing that like, no, that's not what I do. I don't
that's not
ever
what
do
I
that.
do.
I would never
Yeah,
make that decision. I would, I don't run red lights on weaving out traffic on
exactly.
highways. And you're like,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
why would I
it's
do that?
like that. Yeah. It's like afterwards I realized what had happened. And instead of when it happened, it was afterwards that I realized what had happened because of the behavior that was not my own. That was not something that I would be doing.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for bringing that up so I can think about that today.
Okay. I don't know if that was a real thanks or that was I'm hanging up now.
That was a
We'll see how this goes.
sarcastic thanks,
Yeah. All right.
but I
Yeah.
probably will think about it today.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Is that no, don't be, because you brought up a couple of points that I never thought of before. The driving the car thing, that's a great one. And I'm going to probably think about that a little bit more today and see if I can come out with a little bit more of the information that I need to analyze it. I've been kind of ignoring it because it was embarrassing. So, yeah. Anyway,
I ignore half my life, and so far I'm doing pretty good. It's just like, oh, forget about that. That never happened. Forget about that. It's pretty good advice. Yeah.
my life, I don't ignore it.
Yeah. If I don't acknowledge it, it never happened. That's good.
No, yeah, right. So if I don't acknowledge it, never happened. No, never
Yeah.
happened. No. Mm-mm.
All this is on record now,
No,
so
but
I
I'm
can,
blessed with I'm blessed with a memory that doesn't stop. So yeah, if I remember it did happen.
So you're, we talk about levels of experiencing. The resident skeptic just had the sticks crossed, so he's barely an experiencer. I heard footsteps, barely an
Yeah,
experiencer. You mid level above us, whatever that is. Who knows what the top is?
I'm
Do you
not
see?
top. No.
You're not top. No, there is a top somewhere. Who knows what a full level experiencer is? We'll have to dig down on
Right.
that some other
I
time.
don't want that.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Do you look at what you have now as like a gift, or is it a curse, or is it you appreciate because you can turn it off and kind of focus on other things?
I am. It's been within the last few years that I've started appreciating my gifts a lot more and trying to understand them, which is why I don't want to be called a medium, because I am so far away from that. It's nope. I'm still trying to figure this out myself. I'm still figuring out what my guides sound like. There's been guides with me for my entire life, and you hear the only thing that I knew was different was that it's when your guides are speaking to you, it's not the voice that you normally hear in your head when you're like going through a problem, you're thinking things through. It comes from an entirely different area of your brain. It doesn't sound like you. It's not your cadence. It's not you. Nor is it any voices in your head. And I've had them all my life, but there's only been one that I've actually known it all my life. And it's the one that protects me from things. And there's a couple of stories with it in the book, but I'm still trying to get to know who my guides are. And I'm still trying to get to know what their voices are. And the last one that I've met two in the last, I've got three with me right now, three guides that are with me right now. And one has been with me all my life and I know her voice. And then the second guide is what I've called all my life the dragon. And the dragon gets upset when the dragon is mostly protection, anger, get the hell away from me. I get a feeling in the pit of my stomach when something's not right. And it's that's how that guide exhibits themselves, by giving me that pit the stomach feeling. When I get that feeling, I need to stop what I'm doing and walk away, because it's not a good situation. And that I'm still trying to get used to. And then the third guide that just revealed themselves during my last meditation session, he's in charge of all the fun, and his name is Fred. I'm like, okay. But he's in charge of all the fun. He comes up with all the weird ideas, and he just likes to have fun. So he just tells me, yeah, let's go throw balloons let's go throw water balloons at the shed, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. So do you
Yeah,
think
he does all the fun.
do you think everybody has guides and they're just not
I think
receptive?
everybody does have guides. I think,
Yeah.
and we can look at it from the Christian side of where we all have angels that protect us. We all have guides. We all have spirits that are with us. Our ancestors walk with us every single day. And yeah, I've got spirit guides. I've got my ancestors who walk with me. I've got angels. We all have it. We just have to pay attention to it. It's like those worlds crashing into each other. Our ancestors, their spirits still, think about DNA. Our DNA contains our DNA contains signatures of our ancestors. And for instance, I could never figure out why I am so fascinated with trains until I went back into my ancestral line and found that I have a ton of train workers in there. So that's where my love of train comes from. And my love of fishing comes from my grandfather. My love of being strange and unusual comes from my grandmother. The tendency that I have to bark at people when I'm not paying attention to myself comes from my mother's side of the family. We have our ancestors in us, and it's that DNA that they've left us that is their fingerprint on our life. And I think that my ancestors mostly come out when I'm meditating. The first experience that I had with meeting them in my meditation was amazing and beautiful, and has stayed with me for years now, and helps me when I'm feeling really down. So we all have it. We just have to tap into it. We all have the ability to do anything we want in our life. You just have to tap into that power. You want to do something in your life? Go do it. Don't worry about it. Of course, if it's something bad, don't do it. But if you have a desire and a dream and you just follow it, there's something behind you that's going to keep you going, that's going to make that happen for you, because clearly it's where you need to go. It's like me with ghost hunting. I never once thought that I would ever be a full-time ghost hunter or a full-time paranormal researcher. And my life cleared path to where this is what I do. Now, if I can just find a way to pay for it, that would be another thing. But after I started paying attention to more of what I wanted to do, and which was ghost hunting and talking about the paranormal and being involved in the community, I found my place in life. I found where I'm happy. I found where I'm able to get over the clinical depression that I had. And I seriously, when I started following my own path and following the place where I needed to be, depression's nothing now. Nope. Don't have any depression whatsoever because I'm living my life. I'm living the life I was meant to live. And I think that's why a lot of people are pretty down this today in this world is because they don't get to live the life that they wanted to live. And I think once people are able to do that, we're going to have a lot happier of a society instead
Right.
of
People
being
are
put into all these holes.
right. You're
Here, you
pigeonholed
go be a
into,
mechanic. Here, you go be
yeah.
a bus driver. Here, you go, you know, yeah.
And all that stuff's fine. But then if you're not open to what you're passionate about, and then you're just, every day
Mhm.
you're just doing the thing that you don't enjoy, like
You
where are you ever
become a
going to find
non-player.
happiness? Right.
You become a non-player. Yeah. And I'm sure, yeah, there are people that are non-players, and I don't know where in the chain they exist with regards to resurrection and reincarnation. I don't know where they fall into that chain, but maybe they're just not awake yet. I don't know. Maybe the non-players are all just not awake. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe there's stages to this, and you come out
Could
and you just
be,
have to,
could be.
this is their
Yeah.
first time
Okay, here's
around,
your first
or they already beat the
experience on the
game.
earth.
Yeah,
Here's
they
your
beat the
first
game and they come
experience
back.
on the earth. You're not going to be anything. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to go from birth to death, and that's it. And then there's there's other of us that have progressed to where you're going to be a paranormal investigator. Okay.
I think definitely follow your passions. I think it makes life, more exciting. And hey, if you can figure out how to turn this into a career or a steady flow of income, that's even better.
That would
But
be great. That would
yeah,
be great.
I think that's everybody's goal for most of this. But if you
Yeah.
just enjoy it and then that's what you're passionate about it, I think that's also a healthy option and road to take too.
Yeah, it is. As long as you're keeping everything reasonable and you're doing everything in moderation, it's a good path. Yeah, and like, there's some people that go a little over the edge, and yeah, they probably need to pull it back a little bit. But yeah, I just try to live my best life, and I try to listen to my guides, and I try to figure out. I mean, what's it going to hurt, really? I mean, what does it hurt to go out and try to figure out if you've got guides or not, or your ancestors walk with you? It's not hurting anybody. It's keeping me happy, and probably would keep other people happy too if they went out and found them.
Right. So what is the best way for somebody to try to get in touch with their guides? You said you met the one while you were meditating. Do you think that's
Mhm.
a good way?
Well, the first thing we're getting back to where it depends on how open you are. I think once you open up to the reality that there will be guides, that would be the start. And then you have to do some research. There's several different areas where you can find information on how to get into your guides and how to wake up to that. And I spent, let's see, since 2018, somewhere around in there was when I really started getting into it. 2018 really was the boom. And I quietly paid attention to people. I quietly listened to experts. I read books. I looked at videos. I did tests to myself. Like, for instance, the last test, I'm still testing everything. The last test was where for a week, you put out a message to the universe that you would like to have signs from your guides or spirits in a certain form. And my guides have a huge sense of humor. So when I first tried the experiment, I did the first day as I would like signs in the number 11. Okay, cool. So throughout the entire day, I was getting 11s. And then I was on a road trip, and I stopped to get gas, and the gas pump did not spit out the receipt. So I had to walk into the store and get the receipt. And so that means that you have to look up at the number of the pump, and it was pump number 11.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, okay, thanks, guys. And then I get to the hotel room, and I'm moving things around, and on the chair that's in that hotel room were 2 pennies. I'm like, why? First of all, why didn't housekeeping catch these 2 pennies? Second thing is, why 2 pennies? Why 2 pennies on a chair? And then all of it dawned on me, 11. I'm
I
like,
love it.
really? Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so that was a really cool experiment. And even though everybody could probably put their own words to it, they could probably say, oh, yeah, that was just all coincidence. Well, if you read Jung, there are no coincidences. It's all supposed to happen. So the next day I asked for signs with apples. And the first thing that I got was I went to Cracker Barrel for breakfast, and they have fried apples, which my eyes were instantly drawn to. So I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. And the next one was, it was an apple tree that was just loaded with apples. And you never would have picked up this apple tree if you hadn't been paying attention to the road. And I saw the apple tree and went, yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, that experiment went on for a few weeks or for a few days. I stopped it because I got too involved with what I was doing. But that's one thing that you can do, is you can ask for signs in certain things and wait for your guides to answer you. It's just opening up to it. It's being aware of them. It's paying attention to who they are and getting to know them and that sort of thing. So yeah,
See, if I talked to
I'm not
you,
that big of an expert on it yet.
right? If I talked to you earlier in the week, I would have started this immediately and asked for signs in the form of the $1.5 billion Mega Millions numbers.
Right?
Right.
I ask them for that all the time.
Yeah.
And they did give me some numbers, and I have been playing those numbers, and they have hit like $20, but that was it. It's like
In the spirit world, maybe that's billions of them. They're like, you have $20. What are you talking about? No, I need more zeros. Well,
if you think your spirit guides and your ancestors come from decades back, $20 might have been $1 million.
That's true. Like, why is she complaining? Look at all this money she has. I got 6 gallons of gas. Yeah. I think actually 6 gallons of gas for $20 now is a deal. I probably went too low on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah.
So
money's just monopoly. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's it.
They just put a value on it, and we go, okay.
Yep. We play their game, and there it is. But you have to figure it out or create your own game.
Yep.
So what do you have coming up next? What's on tap?
Well, as of last Saturday, I've joined forces with another paranormal group, RKB Paranormal, run by Damian Christie, and we have become paranormal event planners and management, as well as event location management. So we've got our first 3 events coming up at a place that we have taken on. It's called the Stables, and it is pretty haunted. It's been a long time since I've had a location like this, and I walked into the place thinking, oh, this isn't going to be haunted. There's not going to be anything here. And by the end of the night, I was vibrating so much. It took me 3 weeks just to stop vibrating. And there's 3 different types of haunting going on in the building. You've got residual haunting. It's got an intelligent haunt to it. And there is that odd little bird of an elemental haunting. So 3 different hauntings going on in the building and on the property. And the owner wanted to start doing paranormal events, but in her tries to do them, she's had bad elements come on the property and upset the spirits to the point of where the spirits went, oh, you brought these people in? We're going to make you sick. And she was out back throwing up for the entire evening because the people that were in the place were upsetting the spirits. So we came in and we did a very professional investigation of the place, as professional as we could be when we were so excited. So she said, yeah, we'll have you on. And we got our first location, and we set up 3 events that are coming up. The first one is a team only event so that we can introduce our team members to this location and start investigating and finding out who the ghosts are that are there. and getting to know them a little bit more so that they can get to know us and make themselves appear a little bit more than what they do right now. Right now, they just make a bunch of noise, and I do have talking from them, but they're whispering and you can't really understand what they're saying. So I'm hoping that they get a little bit more confident the more that we're there. The second event's going to be an invitation only event where you will have 2 tickets available. You can do just the investigation, and you have access to 24-hour coffee bar, as well as the s'mores that we're going to have out back with the fire pit. And then the second ticket is going to be an overnight ticket. That overnight ticket's going to be $150, but it includes breakfast and dinner, as well as the access to the 24-hour coffee bar and the s'mores out back. And that's going to be invitation only for paranormal groups. And we're hoping to get more smaller groups in there so that they can come in and investigate. We're hoping to keep this place very reasonably priced so that investigators can come in, whether they're big groups or small groups or just individuals. Rose Theater up in Cynthiana, Kentucky does the best job ever. They charge a per head and they don't have a minimum. And I think that is a great way to do it. And then the third event is going to be after Veterans Day. Well, it'll be Veterans Day weekend, that Saturday. And we will have the same tickets available, investigation only and overnight. But this is an open invitation for public and teams and sorts and things like that. And we'll have 20 tickets available for the investigation and 25 tickets available for the overnight, so that the teams aren't there, the groups aren't going to be that large, and the place is big enough that I can separate 45 people and nobody will get any bleed over. And that's one thing that we want to keep. We want to keep this location to where people can come in and investigate and get what they want to get and get some evidence. And hopefully they can help us figure this out too. So the stables is coming up on the board, and hopefully 2024 is going to be the big year. We're talking about maybe having a Paracon out there too. So
That's awesome.
but that's it. Yeah, that's the next thing on the list, aside from my other investigations.
Yeah, overnight is camping, or
overnight's camping. We're going to have. She's talking about doing a glamping. And a glamping, for people that don't know what that is a glamorous camping. And it's where you don't sleep on the ground and you sleep in a bed. Well, it might be a blow-up bed, but you sleep in the bed and you sleep in a tent and glamping. So, and then because this is the stables, and it was a stable for horses, it was a place where they bred Tennessee walking horses. She was talking about separating each stable area into its own little camping area. So I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be really cute. So you go in there and we've got the stable set up. And of course, your stable, your little glamping spot might be haunted.
That's great.
Yeah, because we get sounds of horses with the EVPs. The last biggie, they're one of the biggest ones that I got from our last investigation was the sound of a whip. Clear as day, class AAA. There is no question that's a whip. It's either a whip or a crop. I don't know, but it was awesome. So if you get in there and you've got your glamping, you might actually have a situation of where the place where you're sleeping's haunted, and you're going to be sleeping with a horse.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, as long as you can get some of the horse smells, you should be okay. Noises might be all right. It's the
yeah, the horse smells. Well, the horses don't smell unless you don't clean out their stalls.
Right.
Yeah. I don't mind the smell of horse.
Yeah, I was thinking more of what comes out of them, but I guess as long as you clean it, you're okay.
Yeah, the other end. Yeah, the stuff that you have to clean up in the stables.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. So, where can people find out more so they can get tickets for this? Where can they follow you? Where can we get more? Kelly?
We are still setting up tickets. We're still setting up the entire business, but the business that we have going for the the site management and the planning and execution and management is called RK2 Haunted Escapades. And we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, TikTok. So that's where you're going to be able to find the information once we get it all put together and put up. The invitation only is not going to be up there. You'll have to contact me directly for that. And that's you can just contact me through Facebook or through the RK2 page. And then you can always find me at K2 Paranormal Research on Facebook and Instagram, and just me personally on Facebook. So yeah, that's where you can get me.
We're going to put all those links in the show notes.
Yeah, info at k2pn.com is the email that people can use publicly. Yeah, so.
Perfect. I love it.
No phone number. I don't want people calling.
No calling or texting.
No calling.
Yeah.
No calling.
Especially if your fiance passed away 6 weeks ago and somehow you're trying to go on a date.
Especially, yeah. No.
12-week minimum, people. 12 weeks.
Yeah, 12 weeks. Yeah, nope, not doing it anymore. Nope. Nope.
That's awesome. Well, I sincerely appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Friend of the program.
Well, you gave me an early start to my day.
Well, yeah, a whole day ahead of you now. You're perfect. This is it.
Yeah.
You can go get some fried apples.
I'm going ghost hunting tonight.
All right. Where are you headed tonight, or is that top secret?
I think it's top secret because all I have is a GPS. It's fun. A friend's birthday, and happy birthday, Jason. And a friend's birthday, and he is going ghost hunting for his birthday. He's like, you're coming, right? You're coming. And I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming with you.
All right.
Yeah,
we'll have to get an update on that.
That's the perfect birthday.
Why not? That's great.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's a secret location, and we're going to have fun.
I love it. All right. Well, we'll put all the stuff in the show notes. People can follow you. Please go follow Kelly and everything she's just putting out there. I sincerely appreciate your time, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you.
Okay, we will. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. That was our show. Don't forget to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you stream your podcast. Like and follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on all things wild and weird. Check out the links in the show notes for more information on our guest. The biggest support you can offer is to tell everyone about the podcast. Until next time.